to keep our eyes on Jesus and to study how he actually finished his race. Like how did he do that? He had flesh wrapped around him just like we have. So how did he go about the earth resting? Even the angels that are in heaven, they have a specific power in which they flow. They are in battle like we are in battle, but we're the ones that are down here struggling with keeping up with the battle. Oftentimes there are a lot of Christians who are worn out, and the enemy specifically also strategizes in wearing out the saints. So if we are sons and daughters of the Most High God, which we are, the very fact that our Father is the God of war, Jehovah Sabaoth, Adonai Shavuot, he is literally the host of angelic armies. So if the Father of our faith, if the Father who has birthed and created us in his image is the God literally of war, why is it that we have this disconnect going on? And so I do believe that this is going to be an interesting thesis for our Bible studies, because there is something that we can see within the earthly realm, in the Marine troops and within military ranks as well, where I was studying this the afternoon, is that we see a lot of people having this fear of falling asleep on duty, which we have as well as Christians. Within the Marine Corps, it is not commonly accepted to fall asleep on duty or to fall asleep during a time of war. And so I just wanted to pull up a quick fact so that we can also see the type and shadow, what is happening in the spiritual realm and what is also happening within the earthly realm. So we're gonna contrast both within the thesis. So the punishment for falling asleep at one's post for Marines and military troops during war was not a light feat. It's a very serious offense to fall asleep. I think this is incredibly interesting for us to learn. The punishment for falling asleep at one's post for Marines and military troops during war was not a light feat. It's a very serious offense to fall asleep on guard duty, and troops in Marine corpses could end up in jail time or get court-martialed. So under U.S. military law, Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 113, they can get fired for bad conduct or discharged. They can also receive confinement for up to 1 year, simply for falling asleep or resting on duty. In historical contexts, just from the secular realm, in wars like Civil War and around World War II, the soldiers who fell asleep on guard could be executed. So in practice, many sentences were committed to prison and hard labor camps that they would have to be sent to. The harshness of the law reflected the danger that a single guard falling asleep could allow an enemy infiltration, costing hundreds and thousands of lives. In the biblical days, under Roman rule, the punishment for a soldier falling asleep at his post, especially during guard duty, was absolutely severe. It was the worst thing that can happen to a guard, actually. And so the Roman army had military disciplines that they had set in place. The Roman army was incredibly famous for strict discipline. A single failure in watch duty could jeopardize the whole legion, as we saw in the secular realm as well. So if a soldier was caught sleeping on guard, the penalty was death. Literally, they were put to death, usually carried out by stoning at the hands of fellow soldiers even, or being beaten to death. And punishments were other comrades would strike the offender until they ceased living. So it wasn't just symbolic, it was reinforced that the failure of one man could cause the death of thousands. And I feel like the biblical example that Jesus gives us is the complete opposite that we see within the secular realm, because Jesus actually models to us that he had permission to rest when he was on the earth. Jesus had a specific mandate from the Lord. He was on the earth, sent as the battle axe of the Lord, right? And we know this, that Jesus was sent to actually be an axe that the Lord could use to dismantle all the powers of the enemy and the authority that the enemy had claimed on the earth. But there was rest attached to what Jesus was able to do in the earth. He wasn't being stoned to death by fellow comrades in heaven when he needed to rest. He was actually encouraged by the Father and by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit would lead him into the wilderness, of course, to be tempted, but there were specific roles that the Holy Spirit had for him in which he would retrieve to be able to refuel. And I feel like a lot of us have more so the other secular side of what it is like to be enlisted within the army, where we feel like if we fall asleep, we will get stoned to death. If we fall asleep, it will cost the lives of thousands of other people. And this isn't in ministry, because a lot of the times we tend to think, oh, that's just for people in ministry, like they can't fall asleep, they have to be on guard, the watchmen, the prophets of the Lord. But this is for every single person who is called according to the name of the Lord. If you are called according to the name of the Lord, there is a specific duty, an assignment that you have. And if we're not careful, we can take that to the extreme, where we're no longer resting, we're irritated, we're agitated, we're constantly going and going and going and going without taking a beat, without taking a rest. Now we're spread completely thin and we don't even know how we got there.